episode 50.
That's a big one.
Of KT Confidential. I'm here with Bill Miller and Elizabeth Novoa from our brokerage from Century 21 Miller. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
I'm excited.
So excited for this.
I'm always excited to come up here and talk to you guys.
Well, it's the first time you guys are on our podcast. We actually had Elizabeth's husband
That's right.
on the podcast. I don't remember. Do you remember when Rod was on the podcast? Like what episode? Episode 27? Yeah. I don't know. We'll put a link in the description below as well. We had a good chat with him and told us some stories. And since then, we've actually become a Baumler approved provider as well.
Awesome.
So we're in his now
network,
and we're going to be reaching out to some of the other trades and Baumler approved organizations to come on this podcast and be a part of it. But so today I think we should just chat a little bit about you guys. Maybe a bit about real estate. Bill just dropped the bomb that he's been now in the business for 55 years. Doesn't look 110 years old, but
not at all.
Well, I'm still a couple of months short of 55 years, but come January, it'll be the beginning of 55 years.
That's unbelievable and to be commended. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we get right into it, do you want to introduce yourselves to anybody that's listening or watching that doesn't know you? Bill?
My brothers. No, I never really thought of who I might reach out to, but all of your followers, of course. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm just excited to be here and ask away, talk about the old days, the new days, what we're doing now, where we're going, where we think we're going to be in 10 years, where we've been.
The guru of real estate right here. Right?
Everyone knows Bill, so I don't think he has to introduce himself.
That's true. If you're in real estate, you probably
know who he is.
Know Bill. Yes.
And, right. And for myself, if you don't know me, I've been in the real estate world for quite some time. I went right out of high school to real estate administration. And then I went on my own, was an award winner for many years. I sold for about 10 years within the Oakville, where I'm from, Oakville Burlington market, and got into management with Bill and the Century 21 Miller team about 4 years ago. I was looking for something more challenging. I love the industry and I wanted to learn more about the back end of the business. So it's been quite a journey.
I think, and you're doing a great job, I think.
Thank you.
And if he hasn't given you a raise yet, he should.
But I just lifted.
Glad I came here today.
I just lifted her chair up a couple
of I think you two actually make a good combination for each other because you're kind of the forward future thinking version of Bill.
Yeah.
And the female version. So you kind of, collaborate on a lot of ideas, I'm sure. And, you got the wisdom and experience of 55 years behind you. So
it's definitely.
It's a good combination. So treat each other well. This month actually marks my 7th year with the brokerage.
Awesome.
7 years.
Wow,
really.
You've done a lot in 7 years.
You know what?
Holy smokes. When you look at it?
Yeah. Lost a lot of hair, gained a couple kids. Yeah. But the 7 years really has flown by. And even though, because, we've got our office here in Milton and we obviously live in Milton, we're not at the brokerage very often.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was there the other day for a little bit, but we're not there very often. But one of the keys, I think, so anybody joining a brokerage or anybody that's going through the licensing phase right now, there's a shit ton of brokerages that you can become a part of. And people always ask me, why are you a Century 21 Miller? Especially considering 65%, 2/3 of our business are in Milton.
Yeah.
And small portion of it is in Oakville. We've got a nice listing right around the corner from the office right now, actually. But so I remember my first meeting with Bill maybe 7.5 years ago, maybe closer to 8 years ago, because it was maybe about a year before I got licensed that I started kind of interviewing and putting some feelers out. And I always got the sense that Bill was there to just make sure things are going to go smoothly and professionally. And one thing that I preach to the entire team here is professionalism.
100%.
And, complete transparency in everything we do, right? Yeah. You don't want to be shady in this business. You don't want to come across as unprofessional. And Bill instilled that confidence in me 7 or 8 years ago. And now I guess we've grown to be one of the top performers within the brokerage. So it's been a good relationship.
And in Milton.
I think you're probably one of the top performing teams in the industry, not just in our company. If you take a look around the industry per se. And when I speak to other brokerages and I get asked quite often when I'm in their company, what are you doing? How is your company growing the way it's growing? And I don't hear very many issues to deal with, and the day-to-day crap that can come along with, both real estate agents inside and outside the office, and of course our clients and other agents' clients. And I tell them, and even today when I get asked that question, I say, listen, going back 30 years ago, I started thinking about restructuring and re-engineering our business to accommodate the industry as it's growing and changing. And this is way before a small little handheld cell phone like the one we have today, which does so many things. I still get asked by a couple of those senior brokers that are still around, and the only thing that they've changed is probably their suit. They get to a stage where saying, you know what, I don't want to go through that change. I don't want to spend that much money to upgrade my technology and my computers and all the other kind of stuff that you need to do. I just want to stay in business for another 5 or 6 years, and I'm going to leave it anyway. And in my mind, I'm saying, I don't even think you'll last 5 or 6 years.
One thing I've learned, Bill, and sorry you'll find this in the podcast. I'm going to be interrupting you guys a lot, but I think what a lot of realtors miss is the evolution process of becoming successful.
Sure.
And, I look at things that we do today that it takes other realtors or other teams quite some time to catch up. So if we implement a process today, I usually find that it takes everybody else a couple of years before they're actually implementing that as well.
Sure.
So as an example, and here's the open book, like we don't withhold things that we do. We set up Sonos speakers in our clients' homes to play ambient music throughout the home. We go in there, we set up the speakers, they're there. When the home is sold firm, we come in, we take them all out.
You also have a video set up?
We've got the Ariel camera that we set up on the front porch. So when visitors are coming in and out of the house, the homeowner has that on their phone so they can see, is the agent with them? Did they come on time? Or if the showing's from 4 to 5 and that showing is gone at 4:15, you're not waiting around at the mall or going for a walk with the dog until 5:15. You can go home at 4:20. So we've implemented things like that. I don't know how long ago we implemented it, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Still nobody else is doing it. And we've got things coming in 2020 that will just blow our competitors out of the market, like blow them away. So, so what I find is that people get too lazy right? So here's something that's working. We're doing well. We're a big team, or we're a good team.
And I think it's a lot of fear-based, people not wanting to take action. Mm-hmm. And it's funny.
It's like anything else in life.
Right? And I think your business model is actually quite similar to what we're doing, is that Bill embraces change. That's why we work well together.
Since you've come on board.
Yeah, because I always have ideas.
My whole life has changed since she came on board.
All in a good way. But I'm a very think outside the box type of person. I want to be creative and do things differently. Yep. Just like you guys. How can you stand out? But if you don't actually take action and implement any of it, it means nothing.
So here's a question that I haven't asked either one of you and we haven't talked about. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where do I see the industry going? There's always, for me, in my opinion, there'll always be a need for realtors. 100%. Okay. So technology is great. We embrace technology at the brokerage. You guys embrace technology, obviously. You have a fantastic setup. But it's a people business. Yep. It's relationships. So the brokerage setup, I still think, and even though there is those, the iBuyer programs and there's online lead gen, I get all that. But the majority of realtors need support. They need people behind them. And I've always said this, it's a really damn lonely business. People don't think that, right? The consumers, other realtors think, oh, it's social. You watch HGTV shows. There's a lot of buzz. But at the end of the day, it's lonely. It can be lonely, right? And that's why a lot of the teams, I think teams are the way to, it's going to get
we're never
more
lonely.
Popular. The team models are going to get more popular. We're embracing that, right? We encourage teams and we embrace it within the brokerage and trying to set up more support to make that happen.
I tend to agree. I think it's already happening to see basically mini brokerages within the brokerage.
Yeah. Team culture.
It's definitely going in that kind of avenue. Bill, what do you think? Next 5 to 10 years, what's changing?
Well, a lot of things will change, yet not so many things will stay the same. I think people are spending too much time reading articles about the world of technology. There are so many new up-and-coming companies and how they go out and raise $150 to $200 million, I have no idea. And then within a year later, they're gone.
Yeah.
Technology is great. We all embrace it. We do it. I mean, you don't even go out and buy food anymore. You just order it on your phone and it shows
Amazon
up in your house. But I think people are losing the process in technology, and it has made some of our real estate community somewhat lazy. Instead of picking up the phone and talking, instead of jumping in their car and going and visiting, technology is wonderful. We all understand that. Pick and choose the technology that's going to help you as a tool. But this will always be a belly-to-belly, face-to-face business.
You know what's interesting? Because I asked this, I don't know where I posted it, maybe on one of our Insta stories. And my question was regarding DocuSign. Mm. Okay, so DocuSign has changed the way we trade real estate in the province of Ontario because it's now legal to sign electronically and it's authenticated and it's time-stamped and it's beautiful. I think it's great. You can be sitting on the beaches of Cancun and I can send you an offer for a home you purchased.
Convenient, for sure.
Super, super convenient. I have done deals in my pajamas sitting on my couch watching a hockey game. I've done that. I will admit it. Maybe with a beverage or two. And then from our client's perspective, you think, especially for our demographic who is, mid-30s to mid-40s, has a couple of young children, kids' bath and bedtime at 8 o'clock or whatever, and you've got a counter offer coming back. You don't want me showing up at your house, really, do you? No. You want to put the kids to bed and be able to scroll through it on your phone and just sign it and away you go. But my question was, does that remove that human touch, that that professional, I'm here with the offer touch? And the overwhelming response was, no, it doesn't affect that personal touch at all. We find it super convenient. That's what most of our followers were saying. So it's interesting you bring that up, because it's been a hot topic for me in the last couple of weeks.
Well, let me share with you, and I'll shorten this up real quick because it's a long event. And DocuSign saved our day. We had an agent who crosses all of her T's and dots all of her I's, never uses things like DocuSign, always brings her clients into the office to sign, and she goes line by line through the agreement explaining what they are signing. She put a house up for sale that she was a part owner in. Had a few offers come in, and then this client called and came and looked at the home, and she asked all the right questions. Are you working with a realtor? All this kind of stuff. The answer was always no. Did you sign anything with a realtor? Nothing. She wrote the agreement up. And even when that client was saying to her, please send the agreement to me and I'll sign it. No, I would like you to come into the office and bring your wife. And all that took place. The house got sold. Just before closing, I get a call from another broker outside of Oakville that says, I wouldn't pay out your commission to your agent just yet. We're laying a charge in the Toronto Real Estate Board against your agent. Really, I said. Tell me why. Well, apparently his agent has a buyer's agreement with the client who bought our house. Okay, so many months go by, lots of paperwork, very time-consuming. We have to send in all of our files. It's time spent that you'll never recover cost-wise. Now we're sitting at the tribunal. We have 5 people on the board. The other broker and his agent is sitting to my right. My agent and myself are sitting to my left. And we all have our say. Meanwhile, we already sent it all in, but they give you the one last shot at either making an agreement between you to share or leave it up to the tribunal. We decided we would leave it up to the tribunal. I was the last person to speak, but as I studied through the agreements, just like any courtroom, both sides have access to everyone's replies. Mm-hmm. So when my turn came up to speak, I said, I do understand who this broker is. They've been around a long time, and runs a very good office, and I think his agent is a good agent and does everything he's supposed to do. But I noticed that when you and that buyer brokerage agreement came into being with that agent because he had to put an offer to purchase it on another property prior to that didn't go through. Mm-hmm. But I stood up and said, I noticed that you had your buyer sign your agreements with DocuSign, so you weren't present. I don't think anyone did anything wrong here. I think the buyer, when he said he did not have a buyer's agreement with another realtor, I think we should believe him. The problem here is that, and I looked at this agent, I said, you sent that agreement to by DocuSign. The buyer did not understand what he was signing. So when he said to my agent, no, I did not sign a buyer's agreement, he felt he was telling the truth. Yep. So, Mr. Real Estate Agent, I don't think you have a problem with us. You have a problem with your buyer, and I think you need to go after him for the commission and work it out.
And that's been the kind of that gray area debate.
We won that case.
We did.
Yeah.
because my agent wouldn't use DocuSign, and she brought that client in and said, I want you to understand exactly what you are signing.
Yep.
And that agent has done that. And she came to us from another brokerage that ended up closing up because of some issues with the broker.
There's a perfect, I think DocuSign, yes, it's convenient. People want instant gratification. They want it quickly. But what I don't like about it is that it starts disconnecting the realtor.
Yep. Well, I think and the premise of that story and the conversation
and liability, obviously.
Yeah, the gray area there is the liability. So as a realtor, we do have sort of the weight of being a lawyer in a sense, that we're reviewing
100%
terms, conditions, and legalities within the contracts that people are signing. And when you get the DocuSign contracts on your phone, it is so easy for somebody to just quickly scroll through, hit sign, and it sends the document away. And a lot of realtors don't take that precautionary step of walking
on the phone
a buyer
with
or
them.
A seller through those documents. We take that for granted sometimes. Here we implement that process of walking somebody through it. Certainly if we haven't done it already, you're doing it at that stage. And buyer agreements are usually signed in person. But it's a bit of a gray area, right? It's legal. It's 100% legal to do it.
Ariel, let's take it one step further. In the insurance industry, when there's a claim and there's lawsuits involved, one of the first things that lawyers will say to the client, when you bought that policy, did that agent sit down and explain line by line every paragraph in that insurance?
Sure.
We all know that does not happen. I mean, you try to read an insurance program or a policy, and you get halfway through the first page, maybe into the second page, and you start reading more paragraphs, and you say to yourself, well, this paragraph seems to contradict that other paragraph I just read. It gets so confusing. Listen, I've been around a long time, as you know. I firmly believe, regardless of how good or how bad an agreement of purchase of sale is written, if you have a willing buyer and a willing purchaser, a willing purchaser and a willing vendor, on closing date, that deal will go together. But a lot of time can elapse between buying the house and the closing date.
A lot of things can change.
And a lot of things can change. Illness, divorce, all kinds of things. And if a person wants to get out of the agreement, it's very easy. When they get a lawyer involved and one of the first questions they look at is, let's look at the signatures and let's count every initial, make sure they match everywhere. And did your realtor really take the time to explain to you everything you wrote?
You know what's interesting is what's coming into my mind here is, I don't know what the stat is right now, about 60,000 realtors in the GTA. And we've talked about this before, that there's always a realtor willing to do the job for less, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we go into buyer presentations or listing presentations. We call them listing conversations and buyer conversations. We go into these meetings with prospective clients, and they want to negotiate potentially, our compensation for the work that we're doing. And, we believe that we provide very, very, very good value. But sometimes to, the mass audience and our client base, it's very hard for them to understand, the average consumer that's selling maybe a $750,000 home that has a family income of $100,000, they don't have a lot of extra money to just give away.
Sure.
So how, as a realtor, do you convey this? And I think the one area that gets missed tremendously in that value sell proposition to potential clients is exactly what we're talking about is, anybody can sell your home. Is it going to close? Have the T's been crossed, the I's been dotted? What's that process of getting you to getting paid on the sale of your home?
Exactly.
And that's a lot of what gets missed. Like, anybody can market a property. Anybody can take nice photos now and a good video and print a decent brochure. But one little word changed in a contract can change the meaning of that contract.
Or just a change of thought, right?
It could change anything. And if you have somebody that's working for less money, they're probably doing less work. Mm-hmm. And where are they cutting that work out? It's usually in the time-consuming stuff, like making sure those contracts are being fulfilled in time, right? So
I always say it's never a one-night stand.
All right, I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off the real estate topic just for a second.
But before you do that,
fuck, he's running the show already.
Before you do that,
Bill.
do you know the compensation to realtors? It has changed. It has come down. When people saying, "Have you ever reduced your commissions?" We had these same issues trying to collect a full commission 50 years ago when commissions were 6 and 7 and 8%. We're supposed to be professional negotiators, but I can tell you that even today, the real estate industry has done a terrible job negotiating their paychecks.
Careful, you're going to go to an ethics course yourself.
Listen, as long as we're not in a group and we're fixing commission, we're okay. But I understand the downward pressure on commissions. The internet and the availability of information has made that pressure somewhat. It's really easy for these guys now who used to work out of the basement in good markets and fold up their tent and close in bad markets. But now with the internet, they can work anywhere and out there saying, listen, we're going to work for zero. List with me, flat fee, this and that. Sometimes when those agreements come in to our office from one of those companies, we have to pay special attention to the wording to make sure that it's done correctly. We get agreements coming in from those companies sometimes with offer to purchase forms that were taken out of the marketplace 10 years ago.
Oh, even trying to book showings at some of those brokerages become a nightmare.
Now listen, if someone's going to list your house with $700,000 or $800,000 and they're going to buy another house from you within a month, 2 months, 3 months, why not help them a little bit? Give them a little bit of a break. I understand all that, but the real estate agent today should be out there doing the proper job they should be doing and showing their clients the value of working with you. That's the biggest downside to the industry. And those agents, listen, not very long ago, I was on a golf course. After golf, there was another broker at our table and said, oh, one of your agents, who I know happens to be new because he interviewed with my office, took a listing from one of my senior agents. I guess that agent must have cut the commission to the bone because there's no way your new agent should have got that listing away from my senior agent. I said, really? What's the address? And I will call my office and I'll only ask the question, say, what's the commission that our agent took? And it's a full commission because our brand new agent went into that property with a full-blown value package. The senior realtors have a tendency to saying, you know what, I know what I'm doing. Take it for granted. And they get blown out of the water.
You know what's interesting, though? You mentioned that there's a downward pressure on compensation to brokerages and to their realtors. And what a lot of the public doesn't recognize is that the cost of operation, not only for the brokerage, but for a good individual realtor or a good team,
it's increased. The
costs are through the roof. And I tell this to a lot of sellers, our average selling price is around that $800,000 mark. And on an $800,000 home, by the time from when we start our marketing plan and doing all of our work, like today, our designer is at one of the properties we're going to be listing about 4 weeks from now. So already 4 weeks from the listing,
you're spending money.
We're spending money and we're working. Jennifer, several hours on the phone with them this morning, things like that. So from the time we start our process to the time the home is actually listed for sale to the public, we've spent about 100 hours in terms of labor time.
Wow.
100 hours and about $4,500 cash out of our pocket that we may or may not see again.
I was going to say,
thankfully, we've sold every home that we've listed, we have sold, so we have gotten paid back. But I'm putting $4,500 of my money out on the line and 100 hours of time. So whatever you want to value that 100 hours at, I don't care.
Yeah.
Multiply it out. That is a lot of money.
And the expectations are higher.
And I haven't even taken into account, so as an example, Cam's got to get paid. All of this equipment's got to get paid for. The whole team. We've got this roof over our head for the studio. There are a shit ton of expenses that people don't recognize. And so they might think, oh, these guys are doing so well. They're selling tons of real estate. We're selling a lot of real estate. Doesn't mean that we're making...
And you help them, right?
Lots of money.
To closing.
Oh, for sure.
You follow up with them after closing. It's a long-term relationship, right?
There's a lot of, what a lot of people don't see is the behind-the-scenes stuff. And this is what we're hoping to bring into the industry a little bit, is because people do want to see that stuff. They want to see what do we do in our spare time, or what are we doing at work, not just at open houses or whatever. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, whether it's contracts or doing this kind of stuff to bring awareness or networking and all that. So I think the industry's got to do a better job of making it totally transparent. And people also have to recognize you might be paying that commission out, but chances are, if you've hired somebody good, they're working hard for that money, and they're not taking home as much as you think they are.
Yeah.
The Bill's got to get his cut. So does the government.
It's the government.
The consumer is not aware. But whose fault is that? It's not their fault.
No, absolutely.
They don't know what they don't know.
They're trying to buy the cheapest service they can possibly get. It's our fault. It's our fault.
I still believe you get what you pay for. And I gave this analogy the other day about jeans and how you can buy a $20 pair of jeans or $1,000 pair of jeans, right? How do you know which one to end up with? But you get what you pay for in everything you do, right? Anything you buy.
I believe if you can explain fairness and value, people will buy into it. And if you don't believe that, let's take a look at the airline industry. The seat up front's $2,000. The seat at the back's $200. That plane takes off and lands at the same time. If luggage decides to go missing, it doesn't matter what seat you're sitting in, but it's perceived value. I believe we're the culprit. I believe that we have not done a good enough job explaining the true value. And I have no problem telling our agents to say in front of a potential vendor, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, you're going to like each and every agent that comes in and does a presentation for you and a market analysis, but you will only find out if they'll come through and do all the things they say and promise after you sign a listing agreement with them.
Yep. How many times do you get a seller that wants to back out of their listing?
Not often.
No.
Not as often as I would think when entering into management, because I sign all the cancellations, right? But not as often as I thought. Maybe to relist.
I got to say, you're great at signing documents that you need to sign. I love that. Again, hope you're compensating her well, because at 10 o'clock at night, I'm still getting contracts back signed.
I think that's a good thing about DocuSign.
Does he know about all these times
I do sign all the paperwork within the brokerage, and I try to do it
but there's certain
timely
things
manner.
that can be done.
It's
Absolutely.
true.
It's
because I know it's a time-sensitive business.
But in the beginning, explaining that agreement and purchase and sale needs to be done in person, belly to belly, face to face.
100%. But no, I think our guys are pretty good putting the time into it.
The only time I can think of that, I'm worse than him at interrupting, aren't I?
Yeah. I got two of you.
When I was doing your work back in the day, the only time we ever had a vendor asking for a cancellation is because they have falling out of sync with their agent. And it usually involves a divorce. Nasty business, it's a big part of our industry. The wife likes the agent, the husband doesn't, or vice versa.
Yep.
I'll get the call. And I convince them to stay with the company, but I'll change the agent for them.
Yeah.
Oh, and I would say another piece of this is price. Right? If an agent overestimates or overprices a place, they can't sell it, and they want to,
if the listing drags on.
then that's where I see it the most often.
Right.
It's price related.
Okay, now can I get off real estate a little bit?
We can be here all day. It's about real estate.
One more thing.
Hang on. Are either one of you going to San Francisco next month?
No.
For the
no
national conference? No.
I'm assuming you're going.
No.
Before I forget, early on in the podcast, you mentioned the camera work you do on your open houses. I'm not so sure up in Milton, but down in Oakville over the last year or so, there's been a rash of people coming into open houses pretending to be a potential client. They will usually come in a pair, husband and wife type thing. And one will go upstairs, one will go downstairs. And if there's only a single agent on duty, you can't watch and see what's going on. And there's been a series of thefts. And my thought was, when I heard you talking about bringing the cameras in, I think that's something we ought to take a serious look at and promote for all of our open houses.
Well,
our vendors.
So we install the camera
throughout the whole process, right?
Yeah, right from even before the home is listed until the home is sold firm. And it's not on the inside of the home, because I think you could get into a bit of a legal gray area for privacy. And even if you're in somebody else's home, it's marketed to the public for showings and for viewing. So I don't know about that. Although if the homeowner has their own camera, like everybody's got the nanny cams in the kids' rooms, what do you think? People shut them off when their home is listed for sale? No way. They're tuning in to that Nest app or whatever and listening into what's being said. But, do
you put a sign out notifying your client or the potential clients as they're coming through the home that, I don't know, smile, you're on camera or whatever?
Nope.
Let them know?
Nope. So
But during, and I don't think the thefts are happening during showings because they're with an agent. These thefts are happening during open housing for the few hours that's open. And it's pretty much impossible to watch everything.
Well, and I think realtors and the industry as a whole should be educating sellers that, proper precautions when your home is maybe we got to do that as a little video series.
Hide your jewelry or don't leave things out.
But you nailed it. It's education. You have to explain it.
Well, what a lot of people will do, so they won't leave their watches or their jewelry or whatever out in the open, but they'll tuck them away in a drawer somewhere.
Clothing drawer.
Well, how easy is it to just, for theft, open a drawer? Nobody's going to steal your clothes unless you've got some really expensive stuff. But, they're going to be looking for the stuff that's easy to put in their pockets, the cell phones, the jewelry, the cash, the collectibles, whatever. Package it up. Put it in storage. Put it in, somewhere. Put it in somebody else's house that you trust. I don't know, but get it the hell out of the house. Like, why is it even there to begin with? So
yeah,
okay. My thought was just with open houses. So we can carry this on and on, but just for the 2 hours of the open house, 2.5 hours, should we be setting up some cameras and let everyone who comes in know?
Can you run that by
that we have some cameras?
The new lawyers in the office, see what they have to think about.
We're excited with these 2 new lawyers. They're
I don't want to talk about them.
Fun.
No more real estate.
Favorite food? Go.
Ooh, ice cream.
Flavor?
Mint chocolate.
Mint chocolate.
Yes.
From any particular vendor?
Well, I'm on this 8-week meal plan challenge, so I don't really want to be talking about ice cream and food right now.
Okay, tell me about this 8-week food challenge.
Yeah,
because you must be driving
I'll give a shout out to
miserable.
Not yet. I haven't been a total bitch yet. But I'm going to give a big shout out to F45 in downtown Burlington. They're great owners, a great energetic bunch, and we're doing this 8 plan. It's meal plans, working out 5 to 6 days a week, no coffee, no alcohol. Okay, so that's going to be a tough one, but
no alcohol, no coffee for 8 weeks.
No coffee for 8 weeks, but thankfully it's going to be finished.
The team would want to just
before our Christmas party.
I think F45 should put another program out for the spouses of their clients.
Yeah, seriously.
To how to handle them.
Counseling.
You're going to need extra coffee and extra alcohol to put up with this crap.
So that's my favorite food
so what's part
go-to.
What's the part of the meal plan, though, for this 8 weeks?
Oh, it's lower calorie, about, I would say, 1,300 calories for females.
Where you would usually have about 2,000 or 1,800?
Yeah, I would say so. Small little break-up meals and snacks, but it's working. It's been working. I feel great. And I think everyone knows I'm pretty athletic, so it's my therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're an early riser, too, so getting up in the morning and having a coffee must have been a part of your normal routine.
You know what? I switched it to tea, and that's not been an issue yet.
Yeah.
But, I am the crazy one that gets up at 4:30 every morning, or at least 4 or 5 days a week.
Yep.
And I'm an early riser, and I'm the best in the morning.
Yeah, I like that about you. I think that's one of the things that I've tried to do myself on a more regular basis, and since we had the twins, it's much easier.
Yeah, it's a push to do it.
Yeah, because I'm probably already up anyway, or my body now is just trying to start a little bit earlier. Sure. And I love that. Like when you guys arrived here at 9:30, you were talking about a whole bunch of realtors still probably in bed or haven't started their day.
We're both early risers, I would say. Yeah.
I'm telling you, my best work is between 5:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. I usually will get my entire day done in those 3 hours because everybody else is still sleeping or whatever. And so I work a lot of the times in the morning out of my home office. I go downstairs. I'm still in my pajamas. I've got my coffee. I'll do my little bit of reading for the day, get myself caught up on whatever I need to. Make the plan for the day. I feel great. 8:30, I feel great. Take the dog for a walk, spend some time with the kids in the morning and then come here. And then gives me the time to do this kind of stuff or go out networking or, I'm taking a client for lunch this afternoon. Frees up your day a little bit. So for those realtors that are dragging their ass and not starting their day till 9, 10, 10:30,
well, they're
11.
doing exactly what the consumer thinks you do. You start work at 9 o'clock and you're going to go show a house or two or whatever. The consumer doesn't understand that, our work day can start at 4 a.m.
And we have stuff at 4 a.m.
They don't seem to understand that even after a deal is written and accepted, there's 52 more things to do to keep that deal.
Oh, at least.
To make it close.
Hang on. Favorite food?
Well, I'm a foodie. I love all food. But favorite would be chicken wings, hot, with a beer, or poutine from Quebec.
Favorite place to get said hot chicken wings?
Right now would be the Fire Hall in Bronte.
Yeah. I haven't been to the new location yet.
Oh, it's
nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yep. They do a great job, and they have a number of different ways of doing their chicken wings.
Yep.
But it is a chicken wing place. Mind you, they have burgers and pizzas and stuff as well.
So if you go into the Fire Hall, how are you ordering those wings?
Hot.
Any special cook to them or They just deep fry them and toss them in hot sauce?
Not breaded.
Not breaded.
Just their hot sauce
and
nothing else.
And beer?
Unfortunately.
What kind?
Corona.
Nice cool beer to warm.
Chicken wings and ice cream. I got a sweet tooth.
Look how healthy we look.
Favorite place to travel?
Ooh. Well, I am going to Malta next year, which is where my mother's from.
Okay. Have you been there?
Been once when I was young. We stayed for just over a month. It's and no, it kind of grounds me, puts me to my roots, and it's a small community. So I would say Malta is definitely one of my favorite places. And
you going with the whole family?
Going with the whole family. We're doing Italy and Malta. It's been on my bucket list for quite some time to go as an adult.
How long are you going for?
I would say 2 weeks in total for both.
Favorite 2
in
weeks
the summer.
Off, eh?
I haven't told them yet.
Oh shit! Surprise!
You can't say no on camera.
I may have to go with her.
So I'm excited about that, and I also loved. My husband's from Chile. Mm-hmm. He was born and raised in Chile, and I love the culture. Love it. Great people, very family oriented. So I would say, and if it's for hot, obviously I love Aruba. We go to Aruba almost every year.
Yeah, I've seen some of your photos.
It's just a safe bet.
Yep.
Consistent weather, nice people.
So when you go to Aruba,
safe.
Are you staying at an all-inclusive resort?
All-inclusive, just like the Rio. The kids, it's easy. Yeah, so I would say those are my top three, a little piece of each
Bill,
one.
Favorite place to travel?
Well, there are so many nice places to travel. And of course, when I kept a boat, I was in the Bahamas a lot. And of course, Florida. But over the last year, and of course the upcoming year, because I love playing golf, I go where the best golf is, which is Palm Springs, California. And,
how many rounds did you play this year so far?
Well, a lot.
He doesn't want to give a number.
But when I'm away, I'll play every day.
Right.
But when I'm here, I only play once or twice a week.
That's right.
Because I do have a job. They love me.
Let me tell you something, though. I mean, golf, and I've considered actually getting a Club Link membership because I think it'll force me. I didn't play around this year, and I love golf, right? But sometimes, it for me, it takes the whole day.
It's a time consuming.
It takes the whole day.
Yeah.
And I like golfing early morning, but not too early. Like if there's still that crusty frozen dew on the grass this time of year, or I guess maybe now is a little late, but like if it's too cold and my hands are shivering first thing in the morning, not for me. But then, in the summer months, if you're too late into the morning, it gets too hot. So you have to have that balance. So I like, a maybe 7:30 tea time, but then that takes you to lunch by the time you're done. And then of course, chicken wings and beer come out and you've just
the whole day and a night event.
Right?
Yeah.
So by 2-3 o'clock, you're trying to wrap it up. And I don't know, I get tired. I'm like, well, I need a nap.
But it's great networking.
But
the conversations Bill has on the field.
So exactly what I was going to mention is that anytime I go out golfing, I actually prefer if I'm going with people I don't know. And I just go by myself and get paired up with random people so I can meet people. And I've told this story before. My previous boss, who's a member at Greystone, ended up purchasing the land that Milton Toyota and Milton Hyundai are on, coincidentally, because he got paired up with somebody at his golf course that happened to own the property, and he happened to be in the market, and they came together on an agreement, basically on the golf course. So, you meet people. I'll tell you a quick funny story though. So Steve, who's been with us almost 3 years now, in his first year, I wanted to get to know him a little bit better and found out that he likes the golf. He's not great at it, but he likes the golf. So I said, okay, meet me at Granite Ridge at 8:00 in the morning, and we'll go play around my tree. Okay, no problem. We get to the golf course, and I say, Steve, I don't know how often you golf or what you do when you're golfing, but when I'm golfing, I like to do a little bit of networking. So I'm going to ask the starter to tee us up with a couple other golfers, and we'll go out as a foursome with a couple people we've never met. Oh, sounds good. I want to, yeah. All right. Get up to the starter's block there, and starter comes over and he says, okay, I'm going to pair you up with these two guys. They're coming down now with their bags. Just hang on a few minutes. Okay, no problem. The guys come up, say, hi, I'm Ariel. Hi, I'm Steve. Everybody introduces each other. Great. Off to a good start. Pull out the drivers. Ball goes down the fairway, and we hop in the carts. We get to the first ball, and one guy says, so what do you guys do? Oh, we're realtors, part of a very successful team here in Milton. What do you do? I'm a realtor. Oh, interesting. Where do you work out of? Milton. Okay. Well, nice to meet you. Go over to the next ball. The other guy gets out of the cart, about to hit his ball, hits his ball, and he says, so guys, the stars must have aligned today. So why? He says, I'm a retired realtor. So here we are trying to network, and we get paired up with a couple of realtors. But
you're absolutely true. It is a great place to network. And when I was an active in sales, and I was one of the first Club Link members, and in spite of the fact that I know 400 or 500 people, when I go there, a lot of times I'll just say, I'll go with 3 strangers. And sooner or later, you're all going to ask one another what you all do. But when they find out you're a realtor, that's the topic of conversation.
Yeah, everybody loves talking about real estate, right?
And
do you golf?
We've done very well with that.
Better get on that.
I know. It's funny because we live across the street from a golf course.
Tyndagga?
Like adjacent to the golf course, and I've never golfed. I'm a very high-paced. I used to be a soccer player. I boxed. I like very high-paced sports. So for me, I think I would go a little nutty. I'd go a little crazy.
It might tone you down a little bit, though.
It might bring some peace and be relaxing, but then I'd have to get more days off in order to go.
Bill, are you a member of a course right now?
But maybe it'll teach me. I've never been taught.
I'm a member at Club Link,
yes,
at Rattlesnake, and Burlington.
Okay.
But I think it would be good for networking. I think maybe
we should bring a punching bag in.
Oh, yeah. Right in my office.
Have a workout room.
And we can think of a few people.
You might put your face on that bag.
Put it on there. You got the golf ball, I got the punching bag.
Sometimes I hit the best, longest drive ever when I put someone's face on the ball.
I love it.
Here's a question for you, Bill. For those that are thinking of becoming a brokerage or buying into a franchise for a brokerage, whatever. Biggest advice for somebody out there thinking of doing what you do?
Do your homework. Just do your homework. Speak to every brand that's available. Take notes. Ask lots of questions.
What's the biggest challenge you have as a brokerage owner?
The biggest challenge would be surrounding yourself with quality people. And it takes sometimes decades to do that. When we bought this gal in, not only our office changed, even I changed. I feel so much more comfortable in it and at ease knowing that this gal is behind the helm running the day-to-day. But even she will probably tell you, in that first year, it was, this is management. But once we get her into a few programs, and another year goes by, and 2 years go by, and 3 years go by, and one of the reasons we're not going to San Francisco is because it's too close to our management meetings, our chairman's circle, which is actually in Mexico this year. But once she's still graduating. She's still learning.
Well, aren't we all?
Taking more courses.
Yeah.
But for those who want to go into the franchise network or become a broker owner, I don't think they really truly understand what's involved to run the day-to-day business. The day that they become a broker owner, they don't realize that they just probably lost the best salesperson they had in themselves.
Yep.
And I've seen that.
Yep.
It's best to do exactly what you guys are doing. You're running your own brokerage, doing your own sales, but you don't have to rely on all the backroom stuff that's taken care of.
Yep.
Trust accounts, FinTrack.
And for a
there's a lot of
new
things
broker
that people
starting
don't see.
up, if you don't, because other brokers have started up, you need 100 salespeople to make those numbers work, to be able to provide the level of training and coaching and accounting and administration. You need 100 active salespeople. So when you budget to open a brokerage, you need to budget for a 5 to 7 year loss program.
Yep.
It's not just buying that's the cheapest part of the deal. But it won't make any money for a long time. It takes a long time to build that many. You got to remember, all the other senior brokerages that have been around are still competing for that same agent.
Yep. Seeing a lot of brokerages and a lot of franchise go belly up right now. Okay, your biggest advice for people thinking about getting into real estate, getting into the industry?
Treat it like a business, work. I know it sounds silly, but treat it like a job. Get up, get dressed, and be prepared, and talk to people. It sounds so simple, but a lot of new agents come in and they say, well, what do I do? Where do I start? Well, it's custom for everyone. We got to use your strengths, but there is no roadmap. There is no, here you go.
A lot of people don't treat it as being...
They don't treat it like a job.
Self-employed.
Yeah. And that is the thing.
Like,
so
I'm opening my own business.
You're a CEO of your own business.
Yep.
That's how they have to think. They're not employees, right? So it's really talking to people. Don't hide behind the computers. And, I always use, I'll give it a shout out to Leo from our office. Because Leo is on the phone all the time in the office talking to people. Always talking to people. And even when I was a salesperson, I remember the top producers that I was surrounded by, and I was surrounded by many, and I owe a lot to them, always on the phone, always talking to people. So it was always in my head that you just need to talk to people.
Yeah,
follow up your database, chat,
just being
touch
there
base.
And meeting new people.
Yeah.
It's a huge part. Biggest pet peeve?
With the industry?
Realtors. Let's stick to realtors. Come on. Let's give us the juice.
Biggest pet peeve, and I can say this because I am a broker, is playing the victim.
Give me an example.
No matter what brokerage you go to, it's on you. You need to have the drive. You need to do the work. You need to be motivated, right? It's up to you.
So your biggest pet peeve is the bitchers and complainers.
Blaming, we can all blame the industry. It's tough. We get it. But blaming the industry, maybe blaming the brokerages, blaming the help, the assistant or admin, or it all comes down to you.
Yeah, 100%. Look in the mirror.
So playing the victim card is probably my biggest pet peeve. And I could say that even for management and for everyone.
I can tell you now, 7 years of trading real estate. Doesn't seem like a long time, but it kind of is, especially to be performing, I think, at the level that we're performing at. I've learned a lot, and I've learned that through good times and bad times, when the market, everybody always asks, how's the market? How's the market? Like, I get asked that almost daily. The market for us is fucking fantastic is my answer, because we're always busy.
Answer. Yeah.
I don't care if it's October 1st or January 15th or August 1st, or give me a day in the year. We are busy because we set ourselves up to be busy. And So for those realtors that aren't performing, that are blaming everything else, everything around them, the brokerage, the market, the competition, the
election.
There's too many realtors.
Donald Trump, Justin Trudeau, fuck off and get to work.
Mortgage rates.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you nailed it when you said, you implement systems and whatnot.
Bleeping out to do, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say. But you get it done quickly. So that's another thing. I think people overthink this business way too much. You need to take action. And I see that a lot with newer agents, is that there's fear. There's so much fear-based in anything, but in this industry, it's huge. Huge.
I agree.
Right? So some people are even afraid to reach success. And there are that are afraid to reach that and can't keep it up, right? Or fear of failure or rejection.
I think the biggest thing that I struggled with from entering the industry as a new realtor to growing the team and becoming a top producer is just staying forward thinking.
Yeah.
Because if you're not taking that next step, you're not taking that next step. And
right.
A lot of people fear that next step because they don't want to fail, or they feel like they've got something good going on and don't want to disrupt it. But if you don't change, especially in this environment, you're going to fail. So we got to wrap it up here. Any last things you guys want to talk about?
There's a whole lot of things. I mean, and
we can have you back for another episode.
No, I was going to say we could save for another day, but when you were talking about pet peeves, it reminded me of...
there was a reason I didn't ask you.
That's why you were looking at
it. But we could put a mirror throughout our whole office, because here's a typical... So when we're in the office, we try to mingle around and talk to agents all the time. And someone will say, man, I just can't get anything going. Nothing's going on. And we always ask them the same thing. Well, how many new people have you spoken to today or yesterday? None. How about 5? When was the last time you spoke to at least 5 new people? This week? Last week? Last month? No. It's the same old, same old. And that same person is already, and that same person's already been to Elizabeth, Natalie, 1 or 2 of the other agents, asking the same question.
Got great support in the brokerage to help people like that.
And I tell everybody the same thing. Listen, put your name badge on, or put a gold jacket on, go to Tim Hortons, stand in line, and then turn around, look out to the parking lot, pretend you're looking for your buddy. Someone behind you will read your name badge, and they're going to ask you a real estate question.
Can I tell you a funny story?
The business is that simple.
I want to tell you a funny story about the name badge. Because when I started at the brokerage, we got this welcome package, which included this big, ugly name badge. And I'm like, seriously, you want me to wear this? Okay, I'm going to take one for the team here. I hope you guys aren't still producing those.
We're not. That was an old thing.
Freaking awful. Anyways, so I didn't know any better, right? Like, just turned 30 years old, joining I was probably one of the, if not one of the youngest realtor at that time at the brokerage. I don't know. And putting this huge, ugly name badge on and going out, and okay, whatever. I did something, and I've said this story. Maybe I've even mentioned it on a podcast. I'm pretty outgoing. I'm an outgoing person. I don't meet new people that often, but I'm going to actually give you guys a little tip today. Sure. But before I do, I'll finish the story. I took the name badge and I turned it upside down every time I went shopping for groceries. Or anytime I was out in a public setting where somebody will see the name badge. So I used to turn it upside down. And, I was a few weeks into the business, right? Or maybe a month or so. I get to the cashier. She looks at me. She goes, "Oh, your name badge is upside down. Oh, really? So I turn it right side up. She looks at it again. She goes, oh, you work for Century 21? I said, yeah. She says, do you deal with rental properties? I said, of course I do. Did you need some help? She said, actually, I do. I said, what time do you get off work? Whatever time it was. I said, okay, why don't you meet me at Starbucks right across the street at 7 o'clock? We'll just have a quick chat and see if I can help you and if we're a fit for each other. That's great. Got a lease deal out of it.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Because my name badge was upside down. Okay, so I have a tip, and hopefully some of my colleagues at the brokerage are listening to this, and
sure.
This will be my little secret sauce for you for the day.
Thank you.
I don't meet 5 new people a day. Today, I probably won't meet any new people face to face. But I'll meet a shit ton of new people on Instagram.
Yeah. Things
are changing, Bill. You don't have to put yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable. And, Steve Bruman, who's killing it this year, I forced him. Do we have any photos or video of him lawn bowling?
No.
I forced him to start a new activity because
he is a lawn bowler type.
Once you get to know Steve, he's an awesome guy. His clients absolutely love Steve.
There he is.
He's here.
Just come in real quick. How are you feeling today? Oh, he's got some scruff on him. He wasn't feeling that good the last few days.
You do look like a lawn bowling type guy.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see you too.
Is he spraying his germs in there?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, geez.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I'll tell your lawn bowling story without him. Jen's going to kill you if she gets sick.
Elizabeth comes to the office.
I know. Every time you're sick.
Just go. Goodbye. I kick everybody out once they're sick. Anyways, I forced him to do something extracurricular where you were meeting new people. Yeah. And he just got his SRES, the senior designation to help seniors in their next stage in life or whatever. And I said, why don't you couple those two? He said, well, I have been thinking about joining and checking out the Lawn Bowling Association down the road here. So we forced him to go and do it.
That's great.
So some things like that, you make it a part of, a hobby.
Your lifestyle.
Your lifestyle. Don't go out and do something that you absolutely dread.
Agreed.
So if you like to golf, go and golf and meet new people. If you like to work out and box, go box and meet new people. And the rest of it, get active on Instagram, get active on social media, because you can meet. We had what episode was Chad here?
48.
48 or yeah. Well, in a recent episode, Chad Owens, a former CFL player, world champion. This guy's got entrepreneur on his mind. He was 2012 most valuable player for the Argos when they won the Grey Cup.
Wow.
He was here on our podcast. We met him on Instagram. He came onto the podcast. After the podcast, says, I need some help buying a house. So Chris is working with him on buying a house.
And I'm a huge believer in social media. We always use you guys, right, as a good example. But there is fear. Agents seem to have a fear of digging into it.
You know what it is?
And even starting video. What is it? What do you think it is?
People don't like seeing themselves and are, right? Am I right?
So it's a vulnerability then.
Yep. You just have to be totally okay with how ugly you are.
That's what you are.
That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Because you might be good looking, you might not be good looking, it doesn't matter. If you think you look ugly in the video, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You look the way you look. The video is capturing you.
That is huge. I'm telling you, it's the biggest fear. People don't enter
the video is capturing you exactly how everybody else is seeing you. So everybody else is seeing you anyways. We have cameras rolling here all the time. And I don't care. Cameron will take video of me doing anything. And do I ever? No, just keep it rolling. I don't care. Why? That's what people want to see. That's how I'm going to meet people. That's how people see who I am. Good, bad, ugly, other, doesn't matter. It's who I am. It's who you are.
But Ariel, you're already set up, your experience, and you're right. You're going to speak to a lot of people today. But these are people who are already in your network, doing deals with them, and so on and so forth.
Nope.
But for a brand new person coming in who hasn't even got a clue how all this works yet, they got to get out and start talking to new people. And that could be just on their street, could be at their kids' birthday parties, could be just start talking to people. But
even if you eliminate the new, let's eliminate the new. Yeah. Your sphere of influence. Yeah. I feel like agents are even more afraid to talk to the people they do know than the ones they don't know. Because they don't want to sell.
But it's not just agents.
Yeah.
This is a problem in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Because we get so caught up in the conveniences. We talked about having groceries delivered to home, so you're not even going to the grocery store to be able to have an upside down name tag, right? Yeah. That's part of the problem. We're hiding behind the desk, behind closed walls, and then you couple that with the fear of being on camera, and you're just setting yourself up for failure. Yeah. But as a new agent, the way I train our staff, our realtors, before you're even doing any transactions or even a member. So Steve, I don't want to go out here because we haven't
pick on Steve Day.
No, other Steve. So we have a new realtor joining us in January. I've got him already sending selfie videos to us. So any communication that we do is not by phone anymore. He's practicing, taking some selfie videos. You're already prepping him.
Wow.
You got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Same thing we did with Heather, because the one thing I say, if you're joining our team, be prepared to have your face on camera anytime, all the time. And we catch them off guard all the time. And you have to be willing to do that. It's what people want to see. It's what gives good content.
And it makes you relatable. They already know them. So those people that are randomly on Instagram and whatnot, while watching you guys, they know your characters, right?
I got home at about 6:00 a couple of weeks ago. There was a notice on the door from Canada Post, package delivered. You can pick it up at Shoppers after 1:00. So I get into the house, have a quick bite to eat. I said to Natalie, okay, I got to go pick up a package. I think that's something important. I'm going to go to Shoppers and pick it up. Hopped in the car, went to Shoppers. Standing in line, I have the notice, give it to the lady at the counter. She goes, "Can I see some ID?" Put my hand in my pocket. I go, "Oh, shit. I didn't bring a visa. I didn't bring no ID. Nothing. Just my phone and the notice." I said, "Oh, Jesus, I forgot my ID. I'll come back later, or I'll come back tomorrow." She leans in. She goes, "That's okay. I know who you are."
See?
Perfect.
I said, "Oh, have we met before?" She says, "No, I watch your videos all the time." "Okay, thanks. Can I have my package now?" So she gave me the package. Story. And anyways, thanks for being on episode 50.
Congrats to you guys. That's huge.
Absolutely. Congrats to you guys.
Pleasure having you on here.
And I'm glad you just didn't invite me up here on my own, because this gal makes me look good.
Oh, yeah.
More ways than one, Bill. More ways than one. And that's a wrap.